Hello and happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And indeed, we have a pair of friends here, I'd even dare say brothers, with me tonight. And of course, we should get Kay Asante in here momentarily. But Hargi Chani, we were just talking in the green room, and this time of year is stressful, right? Obviously, it's the holidays. No matter what holiday you celebrate, it's stressful. It could be Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, doesn't matter. It's always stressful trying to find that special gift, make sure you can buy that special gift. But the funny thing is that I, even as a retired guy, and again, like, this is not real world problems, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm having a real difficult time, trying to just sit down and play games for hours upon hours. But Harkeet, how you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Yeah. I'm busy, but outside of that, I'm just having fun. I've been playing a little bit of gaming, but not as much as I'd like to. Just been, work and then podcast. But like yesterday, we didn't have the podcast with Fawn, so a little bit of respite. So I got to play a little bit. And Monday night was my Patriots were kicking butt. So
10-2. I mean,
they kicked the butt of your.
Well, I'm not a Giant fan. I haven't been a New York fan my whole life. I've been a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, but we're just. If you've been following me on the socials, I've been like an absolute maniac trying to get Tomlin fired. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh!
I'm not about that fired life because someone's going to lose money. But yeah,
he's well off. It's not a problem. But the guy's delivery. You got to say the guy has a pretty good record. Right?
He has a good record. The problem is that with Tomlin,
you haven't gone to the playoffs.
Steelers haven't won a playoff game in 9 years. Like it's been a minute, man. You know what I'm saying? So my Steeler brother. I mean, and to make matters worse, obviously they got run all over, and they're the highest paid defense in the league. Like, I'm sorry, man. You making bank like that? You gotta block. You got to get in front of people. You got to stop.
This is a topsy-turvy, weirdo NFL season, isn't it?
It really is.
Like all the people you expect to be up there. Chiefs, it may not even make the playoffs this year. Bills are floundering. Lamar's not doing so well.
The Ravens have looked even worse than the Steelers at times. It's crazy.
And out of nowhere, the Patriots are back to being dominant.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, folks, I'm sure the 100+ people that are already here, you're not here to listen about us talk about sports because, well, it's video games. But look, the show tonight is going to be fun. And that's what we try to bring to each and every show, whether it be this live stream or any of the other 4 that I do. We do have 2 other live streams happening throughout the week. Tomorrow, C Money and I will be returning to our chairs. I haven't even written the show yet, to be honest with you folks. So we're gonna have 2 topics to get into tomorrow on the Xbox, the X-Vlog live show at 12 p.m. And of course, to close out the week will be Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. on Friday morning. And of course, again, that's a show that I'm going to have to write. But, we have a lot of topics to get into. And obviously, you saw that there is a report coming the way of a very, very good friend of mine, HipHop Gamer. I got a story to tell you about that man. When I tell you his persona, his presence is infectious. Like, no matter what room that man rolls into, it's a party. And when I say that he is connected, I'm here to tell you that I don't know specifically who he talks to, but when he puts out a story, you got to understand he has sponsors that I can only dream of ever having. And he doesn't do things that would be reckless, that would get him in trouble with the community, that would get him in trouble with sponsors. He's calculated. He's a smart businessman. And I'm giving him flowers as he deserves. We're going to talk about what he had to say. And to open up the show, and again, we're just kind of spitballing here because we're waiting for Kay Asante to join. We're going to be talking about this story that comes out from Xbox Wire surrounding Expedition 33. We got some stats on that game. And besides it going to run the gambit with the awards, and I don't just mean Jeff's awards. I mean any award ceremony that game is going to be in for a nomination, it's probably going to win more than half of them. Whether that be the Golden Joysticks, whether that be the BAFTAs, whether that be the Game Awards with Jeff Keighley. It's one of those stories that just make you smile as a human, but it should make you smile as a gamer no matter what flag you fly, right? And at the end of the show, before we get on out of here, that's why I'm going to give you the question now, chat. And again, I will read only one. So the question at the end of the show is going to be, what is your most anticipated game for 26? You only could answer one game. And the reason why I'm making it so difficult is that's the fun of it, folks. I already have mine in mind, and it's something we're going to do towards the end of the year. As we close out the year, we'll have those conversations, because next year, yes, we already know what Xbox is bringing to the table. Sony's going to show up. I mean, obviously, we know Wolverine has been confirmed. We know that Soros is coming out. They might have another surprise or two, at the Game Awards. We don't know. Nintendo is going to show up in a big way. Obviously, I know one doesn't have to do with the other, but maybe it does. You have the Mario Galaxy film coming out. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 remade, or whatever they did to it. It looks phenomenal. Came out. I would not be surprised if Mario Galaxy 3 was announced to come out next year, right alongside the movie. So I think next year is going to be a lot of gaming, a lot of money spent, and probably half the games you're not getting into, because guess what, folks? We just don't have the freaking time. But look, let's bring up this Xbox Wire post. Okay, so look, I think that when you look at this year, Hargi Chani, there's a lot to get excited about for gaming. Now, I would say that for a gamer, no specific flag we're talking about, just as a gamer, no matter where you played or what you played, I think you can walk away and say you were satisfied. There has been a ton of games. I think that when you look at Xbox specifically, you probably won the most. Especially if you are someone that has Xbox Game Pass. I mean, there's no doubt that Xbox Game Pass has delivered 10 times over. And so just again, over broad stroke here, gamers won in 2025. There I mean, there literally is a point where people are buying games to simply know that they're going into their backlog. Like literally, that is what's happening, and I'm definitely a part of that crew. Like, I've bought a ton of games, and I know that I'm not going to get to them. And it's here is Kay Asante. What's going on, Kay? How you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm sorry I'm late. Some family things, had to put the kids to bed and all that. I see you're playing the game that I beat today.
Oh my! You beat it already?
I did.
Wow, good for you, man.
What's going on, everybody?
Well, listen, it's good to have you here. Just to give you a quick breakdown of what we're doing, we're going to open up talking about this Xbox Wire Sandfall interactive story, and we're going to read the presser on how big of a deal Expedition 33 was in 2025, and more specifically in Xbox Game Pass. Second topic of the show, Kay, we're going to get into our good friend who we've met multiple times in LA every time we've flown out, is HipHop Gamer, who broke a major story about what the PlayStation 6 is going to be adding to it. And of course, you saw my headline over here. I'm not even being coy about it. It's just another copy from Sony. It's just what they do. I have a tweet from Jez Corden that I do want to read aloud, because not only is it a bit nasty, but it is definitely one for the record books. And on the last topic, and it's not really a topic, but it is, and this is going to be fun, but it's also going to be very difficult to answer. You could only pick one most anticipated game in 2026, and that's it. No A's, no B's, no second strings. It's one game, and that's it. So, chat, I know you're probably cursing at me. You're throwing the virtual tomatoes. I am shielded by my screen, so I don't see any of them. So I give you the good old raspberry. But listen, Hargi Chani, let me read a little bit from this Xbox Wire posting, and it's very interesting. And I think ultimately what this could do, and I say the word could, it could bring more developers like Sandfall to Xbox Game Pass because of the success of this game. Now, granted, the game's success is on its own merits. The game is God tier good. That's it. The story, the writing, the graphics, the turn-based combat, it does not fall or fail in any one of those categories. The story behind this game gives me goosebumps like the big old nerd that I am. But, Hargeet, I want to read this posting. Xbox Wire posted this. Sandfall Interactive's phenomenal debut RPG is one of the most buzzed about releases of the year. So it should surprise no one when we announce that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is the biggest new third-party game launch on Xbox Game Pass in 2025. Now, granted, you got to remember, you talked about it yourself, Hargeet, where you saw some of the commentary about this game before it came out there. Now, most of those people that had those horrible things to say about the French developer and the game itself have gone into witness protection because they're cowards. They have deleted some of the most egregious POSs of the interwebs have deleted their accounts because they're cowards. But I want to get your thoughts onto this because this is kind of like a double-sided coin. I want to get your thoughts on what the announcement from Xbox Wire, right? That's obviously important. But what's more important is what a game's success like this can do and potentially offer for other developers. Because again, you got to remember, this is a small team. And it's obviously they're considered indie. I do think that there is no better team than Xbox's team that goes out and finds these games and brings them to Game Pass. You know, we talked about Chris Charla and how they're making it easier, more Steam-like to get games into that service of supporting the devs, supporting the indie devs. But I think that a success like Expedition 33 moves the needle a little closer to that window of games not coming to Xbox. Maybe it opens that window for more games to get into that service and join Xbox because there are millions of players here. Let's get your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things you always hear, of course, is and this is from a niche, set of people, right? We have to keep that in mind. So this is not all gamers on PlayStation or whatever, right? But there are just some jerks out there, and
of course
their entire worldview is that Xbox shouldn't exist, and everything Xbox puts out is garbage, and Game Pass is just useless games, mid-tier games,
yes.
Right? It's all garbage, right? It's Game Pass slop. Well, can you really say that this time? I mean, it's literally the most award noms for a game launching in Game Pass this year. They picked a good one, right? It's just whatever. And this is kind of the thing they've been trying to curate as they when they started, they took everything. And then they started to say, hold on, we need to actually look for things that will help both sides, right? This has to make the service compelling. And if the service is compelling, it has to have good games to make it compelling, right? So, and that makes it compelling for the developer to put it in our service, right? So they've been, kind of pushing to make a better curated list. And there's plenty of people who want to be on it, but not everybody gets there. So they're picking the ones that seem to do, something interesting. And this is one of them, right? And, you saw a whole bunch of things from Japan, right? And those were coming in. They were pretty good too, right? And so you have this like eclectic mix, and there's a lot of stuff there now. There's a lot of stuff coming out in Game Pass these days, and it's very hard to keep up if you want to play all of them like me. But it's what you get, right? And you can absolutely try out so many different genres of games. Just think of the last month, how many different, we had like a game about gambling and games. Like, we had our own Ninja Gaiden, right? As a first party, and Honor, and like Call of Duty, and, Outer Worlds. And you just like it, just every kind of different thing you can think of, they have something, right? Sim games and, whatever, right? So they're pretty much covering everything. Now let's assume that's how, that you're a gamer that likes that kind of thing. I still know there are plenty of gamers out there. They don't care. They basically buy the handful of games they want to buy, and that's cool. But I think from a service perspective, you got to look at this and say, Game Pass is delivering, right? They're doing what they're expecting to give you, which is a Netflix-like offering where you can choose whatever you like. There's all sorts of stuff. You might like sci-fi, you might like adventure, you might whatever it is, right? They're giving you stuff. They're giving you that kind of content, whether it's first party, third party. And as we've, moved along in the industry, things have changed as far as the AAA. Like Expedition 33 technically is not a AAA game, but it feels like one. It doesn't seem like it's not, right? Like if I took that game and gave it to somebody in 2015, do you think they would think that was AAA? You're damn right they would. That looks like a AAA game. Okay, things have kind of just changed a little bit now. You look at the AAA scene and it's not as good, and you find a lot more interesting stuff in the sort of AA, indie, whatever you want to call these, developers. But I think that sort of AAA thing is kind of I don't know. So they need to figure that out. That's a whole industry issue, but I think these kind of games are what's really driving the interesting stuff happening, right? So it's cool that they're bringing in more and more of these, and they give you the opportunity to try something that maybe is something you might not have engaged with before. So very cool that happens. I mean, Expedition 33 is one of the few like that really just took off. There are others that did the same, and Game Pass has helped that, right? It's like it's there, and some people try it there, and word of mouth tell their friends, and like, you got to try this game, and like, oh, okay, I'm going to pick it up on Steam. Oh, it's on PlayStation. Cool, I'm just buy it on PlayStation. Absolutely, go buy it, right? That's what needs to happen. And like, it's one of those games where it just sort of like just blew up as far as number of players. So, and that's what you want to have. Like, it's a good game, and that's it. It was good. That drew people in, and there's plenty of other examples of games that have done that on Game Pass. But yeah, this is kind of the potential that Game Pass has, and I think they're doing something to curate the kind of things you're going to keep getting, right? So you may not like certain things that are coming in, but hopefully you like some of the things that are coming in. We had that partner preview, whatever, partner showcase thing. Some people loved a lot of the games. Some people were like, on some of these games, but I liked some of the stuff that was going in there. Raji, day and date. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
that's
dude,
awesome.
that looks freaking
Right?
awesome, dude. Yeah.
There's plenty of day and dates, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Yep. Give me more of those kind of games. I want to see a lot of those kind of things coming into it. Right. I don't expect a lot of big third party AAA things to come in, because they generally expect a lot of revenue from that third party investment. So that's fair. Right. But a AA level game, I expect this is what I'm looking for. Yeah, absolutely. Bring those in. And this is what Expedition to me is like at that cusp of what is AAA. To me, I don't care about the label. It feels AAA to me. I played it and enjoyed it, and it was long enough. It was, it had enough depth that I thought it was a great game. So, kudos to the team, and hopefully they can, have a sophomore outing that's great as well. But this is like the kind of thing we're hoping to see more of on Game Pass. I think it's great. I think it's a good thing for both sides. There's, besides the punditry and the whatever from some of the media who still kind of hate Xbox, whatever, but a lot of the players still seem to like it. They seem to like Game Pass. the numbers haven't exactly dwindled. So for all those who are like up in arms about it's too expensive, well, people seem to think it wasn't expensive because they still have the subscription and they're still doing well enough. So we'll see if this long-term changes, but I mean, if you like playing a variety of games, it's very hard to say no to Game Pass. It's just so many games that come in. Now, look, to be fair, PlayStation Plus has gotten better with some selections, and sometimes it's kind of meh, right? But fair enough. It's got something. It's the day and dates you just don't get, right? So if you take the premium tier on both sides, that's kind of equivalent of what you have on both sides. It's just that the ultimate tier or the PC Game Pass is just so much better, and you get all this stuff day and date.
Yeah,
It's just it just inundates you. It's a good time if you're into a lot of games. Enjoy, right? But I think the gaming community that likes to play a lot of games, they're engaging with it, and I think the PC side of it is becoming more and more of an interesting, compelling thing. As it's like, $15-16, whatever, but it's like that's $15-16 and I don't have to pay the full price, and there's no need for continuity, none, because you just subscribe, play your game, and unsubscribe, and you're good. There's no online paywall or anything like that on PC. So for those players, it's such a compelling offering. It's up to them if they like that, and hey, sometimes they're like, I'll buy the game anyway. I loved it. I played it there. It was good. I want to buy. Yeah, absolutely. That's totally fair. So great service. It's helping, at least showcasing games that most people would not even look at, right? You look at the numbers, the sheer number of games that come out on Steam, and so many of them get nothing for engagement.
They don't even get
too many.
Yeah, it's funny, Hargy. Last year, Steam had 19,000 games added to its service.
And so a curated list it's a little bit better, right? And you could engage with the games that you think in that list, hey, I might want to try this one this week, right? And that's it. Or this one this month. Fair enough. You're good enough. Right. And that's what they're looking for, is you get something every month, every couple of weeks, you get something. And they seem to be putting in every variety. You have another one like this. I'm sure this was in Game Pass, right? So the one that you're playing the video.
Oh no, this
right?
This was in Game Pass day and date, bro.
Yeah. So it's like yet another just in Game Pass. So if that's a thing you want to play, hey, you got that too, right? So there's just so much, and I'm like, I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I hope the negativity starts to just die away, especially now that you're seeing a lot of the copying that PlayStation's doing. It's like, all of you guys complaining about how Xbox is dead, and I'm like, but that's what the industry's doing, and what do you want? So I like it. It's very cool that Expedition's doing really well, and they're just confirming, hey, this is one of the biggest releases ever on Game Pass. Fantastic. That's awesome.
Again, it's you don't have to subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. You can go and buy the games, buy anything you want. But this is one of those stories, Asante, that it should, as a gamer that actually looks and cares about the industry. Like, say again, if you are someone that doesn't care and you just want to play your games and get the games you want when you want them, there's nothing wrong with that. But for content creators like us, we're all content creators here. We and I can speak for everybody, enjoy seeing the good guys win. So according to this story, again, it was written by Will Fulton. He's the editor over at Xbox Wire. Just want to read a little bit from it because, this is just for complete context. Hargeeton K, he goes on to say this: fresh from sweeping the Golden Joysticks Awards and poised to do the same at the Game Awards, Sandfall Interactive's phenomenal debut RPG is one of the most buzzed about releases of the year. So it should be no surprise to anyone when we announce that Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is the biggest new third-party game launch on Xbox Game Pass this year. That's based on the number of unique users in the first 30 days of its availability, which means a huge number of Xbox players joined Mael Gustav and Esquit and the gang on their journey right from the beginning. But this is where it gets pretty interesting. ID at Xbox director Guy Richards explained why Expedition 33 stood out early on as the game the team really wanted to put its weight behind. From the start, according to Guy Richards, Sandfall's ambitions were clear, and we really felt that they wanted to create something truly special, something beyond expectations for the entire team. Once we played early builds, we experienced their gripping story, stunning visuals, and the mix of JRPG mechanics with French culture themes that felt fresh and distinctive. It's the kind of experience we knew Xbox players would love to discover. Now, of course, I'm going to add this story. Now, it's really long, and it has a lot of really great takes. So I would suggest giving it a read, especially if you care about the behind-the-scenes work that went on with this game. But, Kay, this is, again, like I posed a question to Hargeet. This is a two-sided coin, kind of a question. One, the celebration of Clair Obscur Expedition 33 and its not only its award-winning nominations, but the success within gaming. Yes, it launched into Xbox Game Pass. That's a really big deal. It's a really big deal because this was, again, panned originally because it was an Xbox, supported game. It was going to Xbox Game Pass, and in turn, of course, was going to be, shit to a lot of the trolls of the interwebs. But it wound up being one of the most nominated games of any one year that I could remember, right? But the other side of the coin is this success, I think, does open the door, or at least open the eyes of other developers, both big and small, to say, hey, wait a second. Yes, the game is getting these awards and they deserve them. It wasn't because they were in Game Pass that they're getting the awards. No, the game is phenomenal, but being an Xbox Game Pass did propel this game, and the developers themselves actually said so. So maybe the success of Expedition 33 in Xbox Game Pass brings more games to the service. I want to get your thoughts on both those questions.
Well, okay, so on the success of Expedition, like it's clear as day. They had lightning in a bottle, right? They had something special. I think I've said it on here before. I was able to have an interview with them a year before the game came out. I saw them at Gamescom 2024, and they at the time all you had was a hands-off preview where one of the designers was playing it, and you could just sit there and watch them play it. And just right off the bat, you knew you had something special. We were just floored by the fact that there was only so many developers, X amount of developers doing something so grand, the music, and obviously hindsight, what you've gotten. So I am not surprised that it's getting all the awards and accolades it's getting. I'll be a little slanderous and say, and this won't be a divergence, but I'll be slanderous and say, I'm sure some of the acolytes who are tasked to make those votes for the Keeleys, they might be scrambling right now because they didn't play this game. I don't know, man. Y'all didn't play this game.
There's a report out that's floating around that some people, I'm not saying who I've heard, because again, we don't do the names thing here, but I have heard that there were votes cast on games that some people on that panel did not play.
I'm just saying. There were certain times where when we were talking about Expedition, certain people weren't talking about Expedition, but we will move on. Anyway, so besides that, though, it is good to see that like you say, this should be teaching the industry lessons, right? It really should. It should be teaching the industry lessons. It should be letting them know that, hey, at the end of the day, you don't have to have a ballooning budget to have something interesting come out as well, right? Like, so, it's a very good feel-good story for all. I hope they crush the awards. I hope they win all the awards. And to the idea that this is like a boon or a plus for Game Pass, honestly, like, so we've had this conversation in one way, shape, or form before. In a former life, I used to focus really much on music, and during my formative years, Either you did something grand to be noticed, or there were people within the ranks of the gaming, of the music industry rather, that would, whose jobs it was to come and find you, right? They're called A&R producers, right? They literally scour the earth for the next big thing, right? And similarly in gaming, there is that kind of role. I've actually met a few folks at ID that fulfill that role, and like every time I meet them, I have to throw some flowers at them, more this year than any year, because man, like they are so on fire. It's like they're clairvoyant. They only shoot where the puck will be, not where it is. They are like hot, like on fire, right? I've been talking about it on my Discord a little bit. It's kind of interesting that the moment they start raising prices, to Hargeet's point about the prices getting more expensive, the moment they start raising prices, which we all say, hey, you know what that means, right? That means we got to start looking you with a critical eye every time, and more closely, to make sure that the service is more valuable. That's when they flew higher than highest, and they have not come down yet. Now, some could say that they saw their roadmap and were so damn confident that they put their foot down and went, nah, we're going to charge these mouth breathers more because they deserve it. And if that is the case, I say shrewd move, Microsoft, because damn, y'all earned your money this year. You know what I mean? But it's true, right? Like, look, we're all ready to pay for our gaming, because gaming is an expensive hobby. We all know
It
that,
is.
right?
It absolutely
we try to
is.
save as
Correct.
much as we can, but at the end of the day, gaming is an expensive hobby, and it's going to be an expensive hobby. But the thing that we cannot do is be feeling like we're not getting what we deserve, or to be feeling like we're being gouged for our valuable hard-earned dollar, right? So if you're going to charge us more, fine, but then obviously they go the side eye, and of course this year specifically, they have how many award-winning award potentially winning and nominated games that are currently in the Game Awards and others. They have really, it's wild. It's just wild how many they've been able to do. Now, the question becomes, let's up the ante and see how many of them they're able to strike next year as well. Because if they do this more years than one, that will be them like putting the industry on notice. To the point you're making, Boom. What does this do for publishers moving forward? If we see, because they've done it this year, if we see next year, like many of the games of the year, or the games that are in the conversation getting nominated, are in Game Pass as well again, that may change narratives like writ large, right? Somebody can say it's a fluke, right? They can say, hey, you got to be right sometime. But if 2 years in a row, and I'm not talking about like game of the year, it doesn't even have to do that. It's just games, because like you say, how many games are releasing on Steam? It is ungodly amounts. And of those ungodly amounts, most of them don't ever hit console, right? And in many cases, they need the help of a Microsoft or another publisher and a publishing team to help with the porting costs to get them onto console. So if they're able to find these gems and continue to deliver them to the consumer in that way, I think next year will be very telling. I mean, I'm super proud this year of what they've accomplished. I think they should win Publisher of the Year both in the first party content, and very proud of their Game Pass offerings. They've been knocking it out the park this year, right? So, like, if you recall, this is what we were talking about way back when. Oh, how do you know when Microsoft has succeeded? When they have consistency. They have a whole year's worth of consistency now. I just need to see it double. And now then the analog revolver goes away, and no one can ever say anything about them not having games or being consistent. Then it's over, right? This year was insanely executed. I think they did expertly well. We'll see how the award shows go, but yeah, Expedition better win it, or I'm going to start like asking for receipts.
You're going to riot is basically what you're saying.
No, I'm gonna start asking for people's digital receipts. Let's see how many hours you played there, sir. Did you beat?
You might have to call. You may have to call some people to the carpet, so to speak.
Indeed. That's right.
Before we get into the hip hop gamer commentary and my thoughts on whether you should believe him or not, and the answer is yes. You should believe him because the guy is connected. I'll give you my monologue, if you will, momentarily, but just for some additional context. So I have a story here from PureXbox.com where they listed nearly 40 games already confirmed for Xbox Game Pass in 2026. 40 already, and we're still only at December 3rd. And this is just, again, I'm not going to read the list, folks. It's only a few. High on Life 2, Subnautica 2, Renaissance: A Plague's Tale, Menace, Super Meat Boy 3D, Replaced, TCG Card Shop Simulator. I mean, it's only this. Listen, it's only Moonlighter 2, Planet of Lana 2. Let's see, Tropico 7, something called Witchbrook. I mean, it's a ridiculous list of games. And what's crazy is that they're already confirmed to be in Game Pass at 40 before the year even starts. Like, this is why, look, listen, I don't get a quarter for every time I say Game Pass. And of course, I've been accused of being a stan or a corporate slave. Listen, folks, if you don't want to pay for Game Pass, good on you, man. Go buy every game. If you got ducats like that, I'm not a hater, I'm a congratulator. But if you are not subscribed to Xbox Game Pass, I think you're doing gaming all wrong. That's just my hot take on it. But, gentlemen, let me catch up on the 2 super chats here that we have, and we'll move on to the Sony is doing what they do best, and that is copy Xbox. Sorry, that's the way I'm positioning the thing. It might be slanderous, hell, it might even be console warry, but it's what Sony does, and no one ever calls them out for it. Well, that's what I'm going to do today, if it turns out to be true. But I'm bringing some footage for Call of Duty because that Marvel footage was about to end. Well, we have a gifted sub here from Will the Broke Boy Insider. He has gifted 1 Double Barrel Gaming membership. So, of course, Will, thank you so much for the incredible support, as you always do. And he follows that with a $5 super chat and says, it's funny. Expedition 33 devs, studio, and publisher all thank Xbox / Game Pass for contributing to the game's success, but PlayStation fanboys still can't accept it. Well, I mean, listen, low IQ is, there's no real cure for that, unfortunately, and it doesn't mean it's all PlayStation gamers, or at least trolls or have low IQ. I have a lot of PlayStation fans that are just normies that just love games and they play on PlayStation. And I've said this many times before. There's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, there are people in the chat right now who are PlayStation gamers. And of course, they are welcomed here. What we will not stand for are a-holes and trolls who don't have a life and hate, listen, and watch things that they shouldn't. So if you are a troll, expect to be banned. All of my modders, now we're gonna enact a zero tolerance. If you are an a-hole and you see them in the chat, just bounce them. You don't even got to tell me. Just send them to Hades where they belong, because we're here to have fun. And we're here to engage with the community and have a good time doing it. We don't have time for a-holes. And I don't like to curse, which is why I'm abbreviating everything. But sometimes I will curse, and I try not to. But, gentlemen, chat, I want to get into this story with HipHop Gamer. Now, look, it's widely known that Xbox and their next console, and really should be plural, consoles, are going to be doing things that are drastically different than anything that platform has done before, but more specifically, gaming publishers have done before. They are partnering with OEM manufacturers to bring Xbox in different form factors to the market. We've seen that already this year with the Xbox Ally and Ally X. And there are rumors that are circulating and have been circulating that next year's hardware showing is going to potentially be a partnered OEM device that is going to be the box underneath your TV. Ultimately, it's going to be a preview into what Magnus ultimately is going to be in 2027. Now, again, it's just a rumor, so take it with a super grain of salt, but it does seem that every day that passes, that is a likely scenario. And that partner, and again, this is just me and my idea, is probably Asus because they've already partnered with them with the handheld. Why not bring a console to the market while they finish making their own? Okay. Well, one of the biggest things for Xbox's next generation helpings is going to be the fact that it is going to be the first time the company has taken its home console and made it an open platform. Now, Hargeet, this is a big deal. This is a big deal because it is going to allow the gamer to have a choice on where they get their games from. And all of their libraries are going to come with them, whether it be on Xbox, on Steam, on Good Old Games or GOG, whatever you want to call it, and Epic Game Store. And who knows what else they can add to this thing. And we did hear a lot of PlayStation fans, and I'm talking about the trolls. I'm not talking about the actual gamers who just like video games and they play on PlayStation. No, not them. I'm talking about you. And again, we don't do the names thing here, folks, but you know who consistently grabs their face and screams Xbox is dead, probably about 3 times a week. We know who we're talking about. And there are a lot of other content creators that just use that kind of engagement to make money. That's just what they do, right? They're grifters. Even some Xbox guys have become grifters. And we, again, no names here, folks, but you can find out for yourself by just digging a little bit. But Hargeet, HipHop Gamer has broken a story that he said he has gotten from a very good source. Now, I just want to kind of give you the TLDR of HipHop Gamer. Besides being one of the most intelligent businessmen I've ever personally met, he is what I like to call a real G. He is a guy that will see you from across the room, yell out your name, and come give you the biggest hug you've ever had because he keeps it real. He keeps it a buck, as the kids like to say. And I can say that for experience because back in 2019, when I experienced my first E3 ever, and I was only known really by a small amount of people on because the channel was at that point still growing. I was widely known on the Iron Lords, and that's how I met HipHop Gamer. And again, you got to remember when you first start your channel, you'd be surprised if anyone recognizes you. And he recognized me, comes running over, does an interview with me. I mean, just the coolest. Again, cooler than the other side of the pillow. And obviously, he's connected because he's worked with Denzel Washington on many of his programs. There you go. there it is, right there. And obviously, look, he is a well-connected dude. He really is. Now, I know someone in the chat said, oh, well, Boom, he got it wrong about Nintendo. Listen, that's what happens when you put yourself out there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know any content creator to the day, right now, and I know thousands of them, who has a 100% record. Nobody does. You put yourself out there, you get information, and sometimes that information is wrong. Sometimes that information is changed. Sometimes that information is BS. And what you do is you put yourself out there and you try your best to put your best foot forward. Well, HipHop Gamer broke a story that the PlayStation 6, Hargeet, is going to be having the same type. Now, they didn't say all, he said OSs in plural, which I'm assuming he meant the same thing that Xbox has already been confirmed to have, and that is Good Old Games, Epic Game Store, and Steam. Well, he said that that's happening for the PlayStation 6. He didn't specifically say where he got that information, but the information is out there. And he broke this story. Now, like I've said before, he is a connected man. And he gets information, and sometimes that information takes years to come out. He's done it time and time again where he'll say something. Some people will believe him, other people won't. And then, 6 months, 8 months, a year, 18 months later, what he talked about, a story that he broke, comes to fruition, and he goes, look, he puts out his video from all the way back then, say, hey, look, I remember I told you that. Well, there you go. I don't know, Hargeet, if Steam is coming to PlayStation 6. And the reason why I had posed a question to Hargeet in the green rooms, I'm going to pose it publicly. See, I understand gaming from a decent side of the coin. But I couldn't build a PC on my own, right? I definitely need some help for that. So my question to Hargeet, and of course, I think that this is going to be a real issue if Sony decides to do this, is there's a reason Xbox did not do a mid-gen refresh. It's not because they couldn't sell the consoles, because all the Xbox would have went out and bought them, like me, like Hargeet, like Kay. We would have all went out and bought a mid-gen Xbox. But they had turned their sights into what you see they're doing now. And that takes years of planning. I don't necessarily know if it's in the cards for technically the PlayStation 6. And what Hargeet had said in the green room, which he'll elaborate now, is that it's something that could be added at a future update. But I think that if they were to try and make this day and date, it might push the PlayStation into 28, 29, because we know that they are not launching in 27. I don't care what anyone tells you. Their console is going to be a year behind the next Xbox. They know that, and I think the industry knows that. But if they try to do this late in the game, because you got to remember, it takes years of planning to release these consoles. It's not just done overnight. That's not the way it works. Even I freaking know that. Hargeet, let me get your thoughts on HipHop's report that PlayStation 6 is going to be bringing Steam along with other OS open and making it the first open platform for PlayStation, again, following exactly what Xbox is doing. Again, it's just another copy and paste for Sony. I'm sorry.
First, the mic. Is it better now? I don't know. You were saying it was a little...
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's better. Okay.
Yeah.
So I pushed it a little back. Yeah, look, shout out to HipHop. So, if this... I've been saying this, by the way, as something that Sony should do, right? That
I actually have been saying this.
should compete and do the same thing, and the platform has the ability. So basically, PlayStation kind of follows a, let's say, Linux model, but it's a little different than that. But it's Linux-y model, and obviously Xbox follows a Windows model, and SteamOS is a Linux-based thing, and it basically layers on this thing called Proton, and it gives you the ability to run Windows games. And there's nothing blocking PlayStation from doing that exact thing. It works. You can do it today. You can go with the BSD Linux-y thing that they have and install Proton. It's there. It's available to them to go use, right? So they could do the same thing. They could partner with Steam and give it an ability to surface their games in the PlayStation Store. So now here's the thing, right? So if you take what Xbox does with the ROG, their interface shows you the games that you have on those stores. It doesn't let you buy games on those stores. You have to go outside to go do that yourself, which is readily available. It's Windows, right? You can just say, I'm going to go to Windows mode and go to the Steam store and go buy some, or bring up the Steam, like you just hit the Xbox button and all the stores are right there at the bottom. You can go to the store you want and go buy whatever you want. But in the standard interface, if you say, I want to go buy a game or search for a game, you're going to buy it from their store. That may be what PlayStation does here. Now, does that mean they're going to have that hooked up and ready to go like now? I don't know how long it's going to take them to figure that stuff out, right? So it could be a while. Maybe they, like, if they have plans to deploy this thing, launch it in 27. I don't know that they decide to, delay that because of this feature. They may be ready by then though. That might be okay. 26, they work it out and they figure out how to make it all work. And in 27, they're ready to kind of, put it out there. That's a viable thing. So we shall see, right? Proton is readily available, right? And a lot of the work has already been done by this other company called Valve with the Steam Machine and the Steam Deck. And they don't have to worry about doing that piece because it's already there and they can just copy paste, right? So a lot of that stuff might just be like, readily available to them. And then, this is the beauty of having this kind of open competition is people try other things. And then you can say, well, I like that. I'm just going to use that too. And as long as it's not like protected under some intellectual property rights, you can do it in an open source world, right? Proton, all this stuff, that's all open source. So anybody can use it. So it's up to anybody who wants to take advantage of it, they can. So this is very interesting, right? If that wants, if that's where they're going as well, that tells you that what Microsoft was doing is the right path, right? It takes away barriers that allow you to get games that maybe weren't going to be available on the platform. And hey, if you choose to use somebody else's store, fine. They're hoping that will not take away from your desire to buy games on their store, right? But ultimately, they're all seeing the same thing. The platform needs to just be a platform, and the stores need to become more open. There's also the fact that regulators are starting to look at this environment. They're looking at iOS and Android and saying, you can't lock this down. You have to have other, retailers be able to do stuff here. And in that case, it's an e-store, right? But you need to have other markets available. And if you're saying it's all locked to you, that's a monopoly. And that's from the regulators around the world, right? Well, what stops that from happening to consoles? Because it's the same bloody thing. So if you're going to have that, then it's going to have to be looked at some point. Why not just get ahead of it? And Microsoft got way ahead of it.
Yep.
So they said, absolutely, we're going to allow anything everywhere. We're going to give you Halo and every game on everybody else's stuff. And we'll keep it on ours, of course. And then we're also going to take everybody's store. And if they want to allow it, they can, go ahead and be part of our ecosystem. We're happy to allow that. No problem. Okay, fair enough. Right. So they went way ahead of it. And I'm sure Sony sees the writing on the wall here too. It's like, well, yeah, they're probably going to come after us too. I don't know what Nintendo does. We'll see what happens there. But this is a good move from a consumer perspective. This is great news, right? If this happens, right? But I've been advocating they should do it. Now there's still another path they could take, because it's still Steam OS is kind of doing one piece, and it's Steam running on Proton. I don't know how viable it is to get the other stores. If you want to do Epic, GOG, all that stuff, it could possibly work. You'd have to kind of work with them to do all that, right? So, but there's a much simpler answer. Just become an Xbox. Does it really matter?
Yeah.
Ultimately, you could just say, you know what? Hey, Microsoft, let's partner. And I will take your Windows and I will put it on my PlayStation. It will be branded all PlayStation. Nobody will care. But now you got all the Windows. And so now you got all the stores. And you're literally competing.
Yep.
But guess what? You're not an Xbox. But you're also a PlayStation. What a world we'd be in, right? And that basically just says, hey, you know what? We're using our brand. We're still market relevant. We can still do differentiated things in a controller, accessories, devices that we partner on our device. We can still have all the games that we want to have exclusive to our ecosystem because we still have our own store. All that stuff's still there. But that store is now available where? On Windows. That PlayStation Store comes to Windows. And then everything's available everywhere. You just use your market brand and say, we're still going to sell our stuff. The whole world of this whole exclusivity sells consoles. No, it's name brand that sells consoles. That's what's been doing it. Because you see the sales of the exclusives. It's not the exclusives that are selling those consoles. They're playing, the standard big, large games. We already see all the metrics. That's what's happening. It's the name brand. And so what? So the name is still there, right? You're still selling a PlayStation. But take away all the headache and throw it on somebody else. You have the option of use Steam OS. Just go ahead and let Valve do all the heavy lifting, and you just copy paste. Use a hybrid of you do some of the work, take some of the advantage of some of the work that Valve is doing, bring Proton onto your platform, make it all integrate. That's another way to go. Or let Microsoft do all the work and you can take advantage of them and bring it. So they have all these options available to them. It's up to them if they want to do it. And I've been saying this the whole time. There's no like good justification for them to not take advantage of somebody else's work and just bring to market a product that people will love to use. That is a fantastic thing to do, right? Because people buy it because it's PlayStation. They don't buy it because it's got this whiz-bang OS. They don't give a crap. Nobody cares what's running the damn thing. How many people even know that it's running that? They probably don't even know, right? It's not relevant. They just turn it on and it plays the games. That's all they care about, right? So what's running underneath doesn't matter. What does matter, what is that surface to you? What do you get out of that if it's running those things underneath? And if you can use any freaking store, buy whatever you want, you now get Game Pass, you now get EA Play Pro, you now get Ubisoft Plus, you get PlayStation Plus, you get all of it in one box. How compelling is that? You have every store, all the free games that come out on Amazon Prime, all of it.
All the epic free games that they give 2 or 3 per
all
month.
Of it. Right? Yeah. You get all of it. It's something that they have to work through. Now they're probably going to go to their, keep their own OS or hybrid that OS with Steam OS in some fashion. That's probably what they're going to do. But I say go full tilt and just use bloody Xbox's Windows and change the full screen experience, which, by the way, it's coming to Windows, and said outright it is not locked to the Xbox experience. You can change it to something else. So that full screen experience option will allow you to add other things. Gee, I wonder why they did that. So you just have to look at the world and say, why not, right? Like there are people who are stuck in the old world, and then there are people who just think outside the box. Why does it have to stay this way? Why don't we make things more compelling for the consumer? And the new consumer out there, children who are growing up, don't care about console wars. They want their games their way wherever they want to play. So this is an interesting world, and we'll see how that goes. But I don't know. It looks very compelling to me if it happens and they go down one of these paths and say, sure, bring your stores, bring your games. We're good. We'll let you play them. We still have our ecosystem. Still buy your games on our store, buy our third-party games on our store, et cetera, et cetera. Perfect. No problem. It's working for Xbox, and they don't have the brand recognition that PlayStation has. It will absolutely keep working. And so the question is that better for them or worse for them? We'll see where this goes. So I don't know if it's going to happen. I've certainly been advocating for it. I hope it does happen. I think it's great for the consumer. It won't be very good for some people out there who have these really stupid narratives who have to go bash Xbox. But it's really good from a consumer perspective, right? I can buy my game wherever I want and play it. That's fantastic, right? That's fantastic. Who cares what store I buy it on? Like, does anybody care when you buy your stuff from Best Buy versus Target versus Amazon versus... No, you buy your thing and use it. Who cares what you buy? Like, I don't care. Like, just buy your thing, right? If somebody gives you a better deal, here's a $20 gift certificate that you buy the thing and you get $20 back. Why not? Go ahead and get the $20. Like, who cares, right? So this is a much better world. We need to kind of get to that level. We've been stuck in this old style mindset, mostly because of the way the hardware just was built. Now they're all PCs. There's no reason anymore. It can absolutely be open. There's no reason to lock it down. It's really how well it works, how much of a consistent interface you have, the ecosystem around it, the back end around it. That's the stuff that's going to differentiate. It's you have power levels, but let's face it, the power levels are already fine. Games look good. They're fine. And when you have something that's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times more powerful, how much more do you need? People are not going to be like I still think the PS5 is going to be good for another 10, 15 years because really games look good. Look at this game. Does it look bad? Like, how much better do you need it to look? These are the things that are happening today, right? And you're going to get systems that are even better. Great. But like, do you need to go that far. I don't know. And at that point, it just becomes superfluous. The hardware is not the thing that's getting in the way. It's how you can, access your games, how you can play your games, how you can buy your games, where you can access your games. How do you take your game with you, bring it back, play on your TV, play on your computer, play on your laptop, play on your portable, right? On your mobile. This is what's going to change. And this is going to be the new thing. They're seeing it. They're seeing the engagement with PC, got them over $1 billion in revenue. Hell yeah. Why not? Right? They're going to want more of that. So let's see what they do. Right? But yeah, there's plenty of potentials here. There's also potential of we'll enable the store. This is PlayStation after all.
Right.
But Valve, you have to pay us. Because they've done that before.
It's going to be
weird.
They've
done that before.
They do weird
right?
things.
So I wouldn't put it past them. Hey, we're offering you a 100 million-ish console customer base. You need to pay us X percent. Okay, maybe Valve says okay to that. I don't know, right? I know Epic would say yes, we'll absolutely do that, right? But I don't know if they would do that on Steam. Generally, Valve kind of stays away from weirdo things, but maybe they're okay with this. They're like, hey, you know what? We want to kind of compete with Windows, and we've got the Steam OS, and you've got a very similar thing. Maybe we combine efforts, and we have a good competitor to Windows and Xbox. Cool. All right. Fair enough. Right. So we'll see what they do. But I'm excited if this actually happens. I think this is great. Besides the narrative stupidity that goes away, but I think it really competes well. And for us who are Xbox gamers, think of it this way. If they're doing that, that means Xbox has to compete even that much more, right? Yep. They have to make it more and more compelling, which means we just win. That's the beauty of this. We just win. Whichever ecosystem you end up with, each one has to it has to make it more and more compelling because there's a competitor making something else. You have to keep pushing, which is always where we want to be. So this is good, right? So I hope it's true. Hopefully HipHop is right here and we're going to see this. But yeah, it can totally happen. The tech is available. It's a question of, do they want to do it? And I hope they do it.
Well, it's going to be a very interesting way of doing things because, Sony always drags their heels. They never and again, maybe they're not trying to do one-to-one, but they are definitely copying because it's a good plan. Again, opening. And I think really what it comes down to, if you're like a console warrior, and we have a hero in the chat, which I want to give a shout out to, Rain G4, a good friend of the program. Folks, did you know that man has a purple heart from the console wars, and he survived to tell about it? Good for you, man. Good for you. So show that purple heart there, Rain G4. Appreciate you being here, brother. Look, the truth of the matter is that Sony is realizing that someone like Microsoft is making a mint on their box. They really are. And even though, like I said, we've had this conversation before because we're all a bunch of old men who would have never signed off on or for this. We would have been like, nope, keep the exclusives. The reality is that's changed. I don't actually care anymore. I used to care. I don't care anymore. I think Sony is, whether it be, really, really like molasses slow, or they're just trying now to figure it out. The problem with Sony is their first-party games continue to go up in price. Now, granted, a change of direction was Ghost of Yotai. That only cost them $60 million to make. So everything that they've made so far is a profit, folks. They're making money on that game. That's a really big deal for them because that's not something they normally do. I always go back to Spider-Man 2, which cost $315 million, and Spider-Man 3 is projected to be $400 million plus. And there is a rumor that they may cut that game into 3, make it a trilogy to try and make that money back. So basically what they're going to do is, instead of selling you a $70 game, they're going to sell you 3 $70 games. It's just what Sony does. And they are starting to realize that, their audience is mostly casual. And the casual audience, as we know, thanks to Matt Piscatella and many others in that industry, gamers buy casuals, the normies, buy 2 games a year. That's not enough for PlayStation. They want people to buy more games because they're making money a little bit on the hardware, but you make the money on the software. We all know that. But Keosante, let's bring in and let's talk about Hip Hop Gamer. You and I, we both know him. We've met him numerous times. I've never seen that man BS anybody. He is who we thought he was. He is bombastic. His energy is infectious. He comes into a room and just takes it over. He is one of the biggest personalities, and he's one of the most welcoming ones I've ever met. With all of that said, and of course, maybe that's giving too many flowers. I don't care about giving too many flowers. I give extra flowers because that's who I am as a human. But he has connections. And yes, has he gotten things wrong? Sure. We all have. But he's also gotten a lot right. And for him to come out and say what he said, he is pretty sure that this is happening. I want to get your thoughts on whether or not this happens and whether or not Sony will allow it to happen, because they are a very old school Japanese company that does things very paint by numbers. And even though they're starting to do things a little differently, they do drag their heels. Let's get your thoughts.
So first and foremost about Hip Hop Gamer, I would say the thing that counteracts Hip Hop Gamer in the mind's eye is his contemporaries, right? Your Gene Parks, your Jason Schreiers, because believe it or not, his audience rivals them. Let's just be clear here. Hot 97, which is where he works.
Yes.
On average, 17,000 plus 18 to 49-year-olds per day are listening and or watching content.
Yeah.
This dude has a lot of a big audience. And yeah, he's hip hop. He got the gold chain. He's bombastic. He's wearing the fitted as he does, right? So people give him short shrift, but the man has been able to show you on time and time again that when he needs to pull the big numbers, he's able to pull those big numbers. And he's also able to get into those rooms and talk with people that you'd be surprised that he's able to talk to. So I will never deny his level of gangster, his ability to connect with the news story. And he knows what it's about. Like he's been in this game for some time now. He knows that if you're out there spreading something that ends up not coming to fruition, it becomes your ass, as it were, right? He knows this. We all know this. He has been peddling in those waters for a long time. So whether this happens or doesn't happen, I can say that because the man Hip Hop Gamer said so, it means at some point it was very true, right? Much like, and we've said this on this show before, much like I still stand with John Clark, and one day you will see the likes of Starfield come on PlayStation. It didn't happen immediately, but that doesn't mean that the reporting was wrong, right? So if this doesn't happen immediately, that's not me hearing and going, oh well, hip hop was wrong. Maybe things change or whatever. But he has earned enough in my books that if he said so, it lends a lot of credence to proceedings, right? Now here's where I'll be a little bit nonplussed. Forgive me, right? Because water is wet. The sky will be blue, right? And when one money man takes a leap, right, and you think he's falling down, he's falling, oh my God, they're gonna die, and there goes the parachute, and the parachute has a big dollar sign on it, and it's flying high. The other money man who's sitting there going, should we jump? I think we should jump. That's exactly what's gonna happen. Like, what are we talking about? They are not in the business of console markets. They're not in the business of, well, we did it this way before, so we gonna do this way until we die. No, they are sitting there always competing. You think they're competing on consoles? You think they're competing on you? Even their money men are competing with each other, right? Hey, these guys did this. While we don't know how that has come to fruition, let me, their competitor, look at what they did and see if they're actually onto something. They made some money. Oh, It looks like they lost all this over here, but then they increased 2% over there. But what's that percentage number equal? Billions of dollars, ladies and gentlemen, with a B. And the 29%, that was an M. In some places, M's are smaller than B's. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the world we live in. And then people go, well, they're failing. No, they're constantly trying to shave as much process and money off of their process while still maximizing profit. So if someone cracks the nut in your industry and is able to remove a lot of toil out of your way while still making number grow, you look at them and go, yo, I need to steal that shit. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Come on now. This is ridiculous, right? Like, even if nobody had said this would ever happen, and we've been advocating, we've all been talking about this for a long time. The moment one of them is successful, guess what? The industry's done. Because guess what? Every other one that has these companies who are vendors who make these hardware and all of this, they also have their own versions of the same money men. And now pressure's on them to do exactly the same as those other dudes who have been successful. So it's only a matter of time till you either find your own initiative or you follow suit where everyone's making the money. That's what's happening here. It's only a matter of time. Now, of course, Sony's going to do things differently. They're going to do things their own way, right?
Yep.
Because they don't own the operating system. They don't. But the funny thing you've said, which I thought was really, really hilarious, because myself and Everborn, we call those tinfoil kufi theories. We've been floating that for some time now. When we got ourselves access to the FSC, right? We got ourselves access to that FSC, and people falsely think the FSC is the whole thing. No, the FSC is the task switcher. That's what the FSC is. The full screen experience is the task switcher that then puts an app full screen. What app? Whatever app you want. Now, when you go to change the FSC and enable it, what does it do? Well, what do you want to put on Front Street? And it only gives you the option of Xbox app. Now, if that was going to be just the way, if that was, it's not even for now, because I got something to tell you. If that was going to be the way it's going to be writ large forever, let's just say there's no reason to code in an option to choose. It would just be there, and that's it. But instead, it goes from none, and there's a drop down, and all you see is Xbox. That's like, oh, we just got 4. Just 4. Trust us, it's just 4. Good luck with that. So the reason why that's ridiculous is because, exactly to your point, just like Helldivers 2 is running on Microsoft and Xbox code, so too can the front end run on Microsoft's operating system. What are you talking about? Tomorrow it could say PS5 app. By the way, and you say
hard-coded even.
Hard-coded, absolutely. You say that's just today. Even today, that's changed. Go online and find yourself a piece of software called FSC Anything. They have literally done exactly that. Remove the Xbox app, and now you can FSC the Steam front end, or any damn thing else you so choose. All they need to do, Microsoft, is clean up Windows to the point where it's really, really tiny, right? Really, really bare bones, and then just go, the front end is whatever you choose. Hey, a premium OEM of ours, maybe you don't want the Microsoft FSC to be your first thing. Maybe you want it to be the cool whiz bang, whatever the heck you are making. That is now an option, because it's just a framework for others to use.
Yep.
Anyone to use. There's a world.
Home theater PC,
100%.
anyone?
Exactly. There's 100% a world where Sony picks it up and goes, hey, now when you boot it up, you're not seeing the Xbox logo, you're seeing a PlayStation logo. And it's the exact same underlying hardware as what Xbox is doing. But this is all a W for you, because this means whether you like Xbox, whether you like PlayStation, whatever you want. Of course, the PlayStation version will probably have the really cool PlayStation flaps instead of the really cool Xbox flaps and all of that, right? The cool inline sticks, and they'll do all their little cool whiz bang stuff. You'll be able to just continue to have all your stuff wherever you want to have it, and you're not beholden to some artificial scarcity thing that they used to use to get all your money, right? Ultimately, it's a different paradigm, but it will be great for all of us. And they'll be making money without spending needless money making hardware. They'll leave that to the hardware vendors, which, like you guys are saying, will be Lenovo, which will be Samsung, all the various ones you know of. They can be in the business of making PlayStations as well. It is what it is, right? I mean, we are blue in the face at this point. We've said this many times. If you want to see what that PlayStation is going to do, don't listen to what they say. Look at what Microsoft did a couple years ago.
There you go.
That's exactly what's happening right now. And if you don't believe me, what do you call it? The PlayStation Portal says no PS5, no problem. How about that?
I like what you guys are putting down, and ultimately, look, it's the ball is going to be in Sony's court, right? They're going to have to make a decision on whether or not their PlayStation 6 is just going to be a more powerful PlayStation 5. That's if that's what they choose, then that's what they're going to do.
And by the way, Boom, real quick, because you said about the PS6, I always, every time I hear this, I have to say this real quick. The reason for no mid-gen refresh is because 7 years, or is it 5? 5 years.
5 years
After the mid-gen refresh came out, they released a device that was $700 that was 3% more powerful than its competitor that released it 5 years before.
Yeah.
So maybe they knew that 5 years after they would still have some in the tank. They do, because the new one that's $750 is only 3% more performant. 3%. Not much. Not worth the upgrade, I think.
I absolutely agree. But look, folks, this has been one heck of a show so far. Hopefully you've enjoyed the footage. You've enjoyed the commentary. I got to catch up on Super Chat, some gifted subs as well. And we're going to get into that last topic. It's a fun one, folks. And we're going to get you the chat involved here. I want you to pick one game, only one game, that's your most anticipated game of 2026. That's a very difficult question. So I know the virtual tomatoes are coming. It's fine. They can't get me, but I'm asking it nonetheless. But real quick, we have a very generous Eris_EMS has gifted 10 double barrel memberships, bro. That is very kind of you, as he's done so many times before. Eris, thank you so much for the generosity. And not to be outdone, he has been a channel member himself for 21 months. He goes on to say this: hope everyone has a great Christmas and holiday season. Play lots of games, but don't forget about those less fortunate than others. Indeed, sir, which is why Mrs. Boom and I do a lot of behind-the-scenes work in regards to charity. It's something that's very important to us. We keep that on the low. Again, we keep it super private because we do things differently. But I think that if you have, and again, I'm not going to try to preach to the choir, folks. For me and Mrs. Boom, we are very blessed, very fortunate, and we just try to do everything we can for others that we know that aren't in the same position we are. And if you are someone that likes doing things like that, there's no better time of the year than to do it during the holiday season, because some people don't have anything. And you'd be surprised what getting a small gift, even though it may seem, not a big deal to you, it might be a really big deal to them. So if you can, donate where you can to your favorite charity. Mrs. Bowman and I have our favorites that we donate on a regular basis. And if you can afford it, it's always good to give back. So thank you so much for the kind words. And of course, the generosity, Eris. We super appreciate it. We have King Webb here in all caps. He drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "It ain't happening. It's going to destroy the PlayStation storefront." I mean, that's what at least the PlayStation gamer said about Xbox, and they're worried about the $4 trillion company. Who knows? We have Lieutenant Hulk. Salute to you, kind sir. He says this rumor is a nothing burger because if Sony adds Steam, will Sony remove their online paywall? Because I don't see that happening. You know, it's funny, Lieutenant Hulk. That's probably one of the reasons why it may not happen, because, again, one of the big rumors is that Xbox, and I think Jez Corden himself has even reported this, that the paywall for online play for Xbox and their next generation is going away. That is going to put a lot, and that's a conversation that I myself haven't even made a big topic over, because that is a bit of a quote game changer, if you will. You got to remember something, folks. These companies are vying for your time, but more importantly, they're vying for your dollar. And unfortunately, in 2025 and potentially 26 and beyond, the dollar is going to get less valuable and you're going to be spending more on less. And I got to be honest with you. If you are a gamer, I don't care where you play, but if you are a gamer that likes a lot of games, it's going to be super hard for you to ignore what Xbox is doing. I mean, we said it before on one of the other topics. They already have announced 40 games to Game Pass next year. And we're not even in that year yet, ladies and gentlemen. And if they somehow come out with a OEM hardware, or let's say, for instance, they wait for their own in 27 and they launch that console with no multiplayer paywall, that's going to put a significant amount of pressure on Sony. I don't care how many bangers they have, because if you don't have to pay for online and Game Pass is what it is, and you're getting 70 plus games per year, including first party, and all those first party games are bangers, it's going to be hard to get people to want to buy into PlayStation. I'm sorry. You're just not going to be able to do it, especially if they release their games onto Steam day and date, because they're going to go there. They're going day and date. May not be this year. Hell, it may not even be next year, but they're at some point going to be releasing their games on Steam because of Helldivers 2 success. But I'll end it there. We also have in a couple of super chats come in here. We have Torino Johnson. What's up, Torino? Great to see you here, brother. Thank you so much for the very generous $5 super chat. Torino goes on to say, just some support. Good show, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for the generosity. As always, hopefully you had a great holiday with the fam. We also have Big Mad Mo, who, of course, wants Master Chief gone and retired. He's been a channel member, ladies and gentlemen, for 43 months, and he goes on to say, my most anticipated game for next year is Gears of War E-Day, because you said one, LOL, but Exodus is close close behind. Hashtag Chief needs to retire. See, there it goes. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is just for fun. This is not like like a major topic we're going to spend 15 minutes on. So, of course, being the host, I'm going to go last. I have my one, but I'm going to go to Hargeet. Now, Hargeet, you said in the green room, boom, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, you're a gamer, but you can only pick one. What is your one most anticipated game of 2026?
Man, that's tough. Gosh dang. I don't know. Like we don't know if it's official, but like Clockwork may come out. That might end up being it.
Okay, that's a fair one.
If Fable gets delayed, just because they don't have room, then maybe that's it. But we will see, right? So, but it's probably one of those. But that's you're really putting me in like it's not going to be GTA, even though I will absolutely play GTA.
I'm going to play it, but it's not even my top 10 most anticipated. I'm sorry. It's just GTA. It's just different people and pretty graphics. It's fine.
But there are so many that I really, really like. So, oh man. I like the Hitman type games, and so that 007 looks like it's really good, fun for me.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that too. So, but like I could just keep going. It's just so many games that I'm looking forward to next year. So I'm just gonna stick with that. The problem is I don't know what the full slate of next year looks like yet.
It's crazy.
If a Mario or Zelda mainline game comes out, automatically that's my top game. It like if that happens, that's my top game. But
I think
don't
you're
know
getting
if
a
that's
Zelda
happening
game
yet.
next year. Hell, I think you might get both. You might get both next year.
So if that happens, hallelujah. That's what my top game is. Like I'm still looking forward to Yote coming out because I want to play that because I love Tsushima, right? For me, that'll be a new game next year because I'm assuming it'll come out next year on PC.
Yep.
So that's gonna be a thing for me. So look, there's so many potentials, right? But like I don't know. But like we have Halo, Gears, and Forza, of which I'm pretty excited for Gears, but I'm more excited for a new Halo, and I don't know what's happening in the Halo realm outside of this little remaster of Combat Evolved. I'm wondering what's next, and if something else comes with Halo, oh my God, that'll be it. So
Halo 7, whatever that's going to be,
they
whatever.
have the sequel, oh my goodness, that'll be it, right? But for now, I'll just leave it at it'll be like clockwork for now. Let's just leave it at that.
I mean, and again, you know what? Every time we've seen that game, we've seen it only twice. I think it's going to show up. And again, obviously, we talked about it yesterday. That game is already the cat's out of the bag. It's coming out next year, and we know that because one of the former writers or one of the developers that was writing for the game actually had it on his LinkedIn. It's coming out in 2026. So again, I think it's going to be at the event in January for Xbox. But we'll see. Asante, what is your one game that you're most excited for? Your most anticipated game of 26?
So he stole mine, right? You know that because mine has been Clockwork Revolution for a long time. But because he did, and because this will be interesting, I'll go third party.
Okay.
I'll go third party. And this, while new, I will justify and say has risen to the top of my list. And I bet it's not on anyone else's top list at all because it's out of left field and it's just straight up my kind of game. I put the link of it in the chat, BoomStick, in the private chat. And we saw this at the Xbox partner preview. Zoo Punk. Remember Zoo Punk?
Dude. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That looks good, dude.
Yeah. That is my most anticipated. Now, obviously, if we're talking in the Xbox context and all that, obviously, I was saying Clockwork Revolution. I've been talking about it since the day I saw that thing. It looks amazing. But Zoo Punk is now right there on my third party because I loved the first one so much. Out of nowhere, I played the whole thing on the original
Fist,
Xbox Ally.
right?
Fist,
Yeah,
exactly.
right. Fist,
Yeah.
exactly.
And this game is is basically chronologically it's the what led to the Fist Wars, whatever the wars were that eventually led to Fist.
Is it a prequel?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the war that led to all those people separating that eventually leads to the story in Fist, this is what led there. Right? This is their E-Day, I guess, right? So, but the level of ambition that has been added here is so large. I think it's impossible for them to land the plane. At least how broad and how ambitious they are. It looks exactly like Beyond the Good and Evil 2. The game that is impossible to make, that even Ubisoft with their 10,000 employees have pretty much have given up on, right? This looks exactly like that. From a huge world building perspective, got we're treading all over Star Wars territory. It's all there. It's just all there, right? Yeah. So I think this is going to be pretty damn insane if they're able to land the plane. And even if they're not, it'll be very interesting watching them try. I put it in the private chat. I will put it in the regular chat for y'all to see. There's 10 minutes of actual full gameplay and combat and everything else.
Very nice.
Bro, it is beautiful. Like the ambition is there. It looks like they're going to freaking land it. And I'm so excited to see it. It looks great.
Yeah, I mean the other one there that was Raji. I really am looking because it's a story in India, right? I'm
yes,
the first one.
It's even more so because if you played the original, first of all, the original was side-scrolling, gorgeous. The story was so deep in the original,
beautiful. Yeah.
It was. I actually reviewed that game for the developer. Like they reached out to the developer game. Nice. I reviewed it years ago. And I played it. It was just stunning. The fact you're getting a full-fledged AAA bomb of that, I'm in. I'm definitely in. So the gaming adaptation newscast says Fist is a prequel to Zoo Punk. It's the other way around. Zoo Punk is apparently a prequel to Fist.
Fist, yes.
So I started playing for them. I finished it. Really, really good though. I got to be honest.
Game. Yeah.
So for me, it's going back old school. My most anticipated game is Halo Campaign Evolved. That's it. That's it. I have been a Halo fan since inception. I've beaten every game. I Still don't like 5. It took me years to beat it for a lot of reasons, but I ultimately did. And the game is stunning looking. There's no doubt about it, but the story was just not good. But for me, I know that, yes, this is a remake, sure. And, it's not a remaster, it's a remake from the ground up. I am interested to finally get back to the library and see what that looks like in gorgeous Unreal Engine 5. I cannot wait to fight the Flood, because the Flood was terrifying. They're just, they're like spores that took over everybody, and we have not really had them in a game since the original trilogy. Like, it's been a minute, so I can't wait to see what they look like, how they react, how this is done in next gen graphics. But for me, also, I think one of the most exciting things is we're getting those prequel missions with Sergeant Johnson. Like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Like, if you are a Halo fan, first of all, the character of Sergeant J is, I mean, he's to me as important to the story of Halo as Master Chief and Cortana. Like, that's how I look at him. And you're going to get a prequel mission that no one even knows what the story is. We don't know how long the missions are going to be, but they're adding new gameplay. They're adding new story that's now going to be canon. Like, how could you not be excited? So for me, as being a huge Halo stan, I'm very excited for that. But look, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. Again, we try to keep it 90 minutes because obviously I'm an old man and my back does not handle sitting in a chair for 2 hours like it used to. But I hope that you enjoyed today's show. I am going to be cutting down 2 of the topics into smaller bite-size videos. I made 5 videos today. I put 2 up. I have 3 ready to go, which I'm going to be doling out from the earlier shows that we did this week. Of course, tomorrow, C Money and I will be back at noon for X Vlog Live. And of course, Friday morning, we're going to be back for Breakfast with Boom. But let's get everyone out of here. And we'll start first with Harky Chani. Listen, we know we can't. Yes, sir.
I think there's a super chat still waiting.
Oh, there is. Okay, let me see. Let me pop in there and see that. Okay, yes, we actually have a Torino Johnson, who's been a channel member for 26 months. He says, don't sleep on Winter Burrow, guys. I'm loving that little Survivor mouse game. It's addictive. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about that. That's Game Pass. That's right there. So if you don't, maybe you want to try it, maybe you don't. But yeah, it's a little mouse it's like a survival type of game, and it looks like a storybook. It looks like it was, like one of the golden books you'd read when you were a kid. I love artwork like that. So that's thanks for the Torino. Definitely check that out for sure. Check out Marvel's Cosmic Invasion. It's in Game Pass, ladies and gentlemen. It's really freaking good, as you saw by the footage. But Harky Chani, we know we can't find you on the socials, and of course, like my wife, she says you're the smartest man in the room because she doesn't even have a thumbprint. She doesn't do social media. But you do have a YouTube channel, which, of course, we want to see more people subscribe to. And you're also on a gazillion other podcasts. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people potentially buy the book that you wrote called Emergence? And more importantly, find you on other podcasts?
Yeah, absolutely. So my book, it's shop.chani.us if you want to pick it up. My channel is Harky Chani 1. Go ahead and check that out. I'll be on, hopefully, with C Money and Doodle. We'll be back this Friday. They were off because it was Thanksgiving last time, so I think. So we didn't have the show last week, but hopefully we'll be back on Friday, 8 p.m.-ish U.S. Eastern Time. Check that out on Point for Gamers. I'll be on with Web Dave on Sunday, 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, and hopefully we'll be back with Fonz on Tuesday, 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Check that out, and we'll be here next week to figure out how and why Xbox is, of course, dead.
There you go. Yeah,
and that'll be the day before the Game Awards, right? I think.
I love it. Actually,
next week.
Yeah, next Wednesday it's going to be our Game Awards prediction show. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yes. So of course we'll open up with Xbox has died again, and then we'll close out the show with our predictions for the Game Awards. Maybe we'll get some leaks or early releases or something, and it's going to be. I'm not covering it personally, folks. I am going to have like a Thursday afternoon show, but in the evening, I'm just going to watch it as a fan because I really want to just sit back and enjoy it and not have to, podcast about it. And of course, Friday morning, like we've done it all these years, we'll cover all of the aftermath of the Game Awards. But Asante, you have a special show happening this Saturday, which of course I'm going to pop in and of course celebrate with you. Tell the fine folks in the chat what you and Everborn Saga will be celebrating, and more importantly, where they can tune in and follow you on social media.
Yeah, well, excuse me. So this Saturday will, of course, be episode 200 of the Gaming Circle podcast. It's been a while, but we finally got to 200 episodes. It was supposed to be a couple weeks ago, but life happened. It's one of those things. So we decided, you know what? Let's take our time and do it right. Obviously, it will be a long one, I suspect. Lots of people will probably want to jump on the air, and we will have a great episode. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll be a little slanderous as we do on a good Saturday morning. So come check us out. Episode 200 will be Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see Mr. Hargeet Chani in the house. I know Boom will be there, and a lot of your favorite content creators. We're a big community out here, so when one of us celebrates, we all celebrate. So come join us on a Saturday morning. It'll be fun. You follow me on all the social medias and all the other places that we communicate, and of course, I will follow you back. These days, you want to hang out and have a chat with me, you can come to the GCP Discord. That is discord.gg/tgcp. Some parts of that Discord are a little crazy, but not all the parts. There's some nice growth and tutorials and learnings and fun community to be had there. Just stay out of the Octagon. That's a crazy place.
The Octagon is messy, man.
Oh,
They use salt. They use kabuki levels of green smoke. Stay out of the Octagon.
You know. But yeah,
all right. Well,
it.
listen, brother, I'll be there on Saturday to celebrate you and the achievement of episode 200. It's a really big deal. I say this all the time.
Appreciate
Content creation is not easy, folks. Garnering an audience is difficult work. Having again, YouTube is so vast, right? It's so you could have an episode 100 and speak to nobody. But that's not the case with Asante and of course Everborn.
We have been
their
lucky.
shows are the people tune in for them because they're fun and they're engaging and they're thought provoking. And again, I'm going to be there to celebrate them, and you should as well. But ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you to all of these super chats, gifted memberships, and of course the memberships that happen behind the scenes. Mrs. Boom and I do greatly appreciate all of the generosity, and of course for Hargeet Chani and Asante, we want to wish everyone a great evening. Hopefully, you'll be able to get some gaming in before you go to sleep. Or, of course, maybe if you're on the West Coast, it's not that late. I think it's only 5:37 there. So, of course, you have a lot of time to enjoy gaming. And there's a lot of games that have been released, so to enjoy that. But I'm going to close the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, one day be important to you, and that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated, and also it doesn't cost anything to be nice, to live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're gonna have an awesome day. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. Boomstick and Friends.